they have this strong Christian background, and then they're starting to embrace that like deeper spirituality. And I start, to your point, pointing out, like, church every Sunday, is that not a regular ceremony or ritual, right?
Right.
Like, you're eating something that represents the body and blood. Like, is that not a magical ritual? I mean,
absolutely.
The singing, the chorus, the
candles.
they're magical. Every prayer,
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Welcome back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this miracle plant with so many names and how it's helping people in so many extraordinary ways. Well, today we have another very, very special guest on this healing path, on this healing journey. We are here at the Miracle Plant. I want to welcome to the stage, to the Miracle Plant Podcast, Sunshine. How you doing, Sunshine? How are you doing this fine day?
I am fabulous. It is Friday, and I'm approaching 5 o'clock a lot sooner than you. So I'm really wonderful.
That's wonderful. Yep, we're out here on the left coast, the west coast. Some call it the best coast, but yeah, we're still a few hours behind here on a Friday. So I just, you have such a fascinating story and such a fascinating, journey. I would love for you to share with our audience how you got into what you've gotten into and what you're up to nowadays.
Absolutely. So I'm a psychic medium. How I got into what I'm into, I guess I was born, is the very simple way to put it. But I have a Catholic upbringing, a Catholic background. And at some point in 12 years of Catholic education, I kind of threw my hands up because nobody could answer any of the questions that I really was asking, these deep spiritual questions, where I was comfortable with it. Like, I thought it was a good answer. So I went on my own and started to explore my own spiritual path. Lo and behold, around 16 years old, stumbled into a metaphysics store and found myself at home, right? Really found myself at home and began exploring everything I possibly could in that spiritual metaphysical path. I just realized too, this miracle plant is around the same age that I met him. Like, that plant that, her was at 16. So that's kind of fascinating to find that out too right now. And continued to venture on. So as a psychic medium, I've been doing divination since I was 16 years old. Lot, maybe not as practiced at 16 as I am now. And as a medium, I didn't know this, but as a child, I used to see spirits, stopped at some point, and then around the age of 19, actually started to communicate with them again after my grandmother, who was also a medium, passed. So it's been quite an amazing journey of a lot of reading, talking to people, exploring different circles, different pathways, learning just about everything that you can when you step outside of the religion circle into that spirituality circle. And today I'm incredibly excited to say the last 3 years having been the most powerful, because just over 3 years ago, October of 2019, I accepted that I was an alcoholic and stopped drinking. And so since then, it has been this unbelievable, accelerated journey into discovering my own spirituality, my own path. And so today, not only am I at this place of really knowing, understanding kind of who I am and what my purpose is, I've also come to realize that purpose is to be a psychic medium, to help healed individuals, as well as to teach people how to embrace their own psychic gifts, step into their own magical powers, and really use all of those to create a life that they're madly and wildly in love with.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, talk to me a little bit about, you said at the same time, at the same age, the miracle plant was introduced as well. I'm sure there's some alignment there, without a doubt. And also, my mom, Benton-Gaillard, has joined us on the call, so I'll be getting her thought and listening to two birds of the same feather talk here.
Awesome. Yeah. So if I heard that question correctly, you want me to kind of talk about that connection of, the miracle plant and 16. I was, at that age, a 16-year-old, I was looking for something and I didn't know really what it was. I mean, at 16, what the heck do you know? I had no clue what it was. I knew that I wanted to meet the miracle plant. I knew I wanted to smoke marijuana at some point. So I befriended folks in school that I happened to know did, and went down the path of exploring that. And I wish I could go back and find out the exact date and time, like how they worked, but I would say it was around that same time that I would have actually stumbled into that metaphysics store. And so it's really like seeking answers, right? It's really seeking and looking for things. And so that spiritual path, and even today in my work, it is a huge component of my magical rituals, my actual working rituals. I medicate to help myself sleep as well, but it plays a huge role. And I don't think I ever put those two things together until we just sat down and chatted here today. So, wow. Thank you for that.
Well, maybe that's why we were supposed to meet. So that's funny how the universe works, as you already know. My mom, Jenna Benton-Gaillard, is also very metaphysical. And I would love for her to first meet you and you guys talk a little metaphysics, because I know everyone could learn when you guys get going.
Hi, Janet. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I like to research before I pop on these, but I'm pretty familiar with this topic. And I'm very metaphysical, psychic since I was quite young.
Yeah, most of us that have had it flashing at us since we were little children.
Oh, absolutely. My mother was that way, and 2 or 3 of my children.
Yeah, my grandmother, who's on the other side now, she was a medium while she was around, but she referred to it as talking to the angels.
Oh, my mother, yes.
Very, very Christian, very Catholic woman, but had a lot of magical rituals too, which was, like looking back as an adult, like you start to, like she had things that she would do when she got into the car, right? Certain prayers that she would say when she came home, like all sorts of stuff. So it's crazy how much it actually is in our lineage, but we don't always even recognize it as such.
Right. And it's tough in a world where it's not very well accepted. And being called, oh, you're just being woo-woo again, or those sorts of things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can go ahead and call me woo. I'm fine with that. You can call me whatever you want. But yeah, no, it is a much deeper personal belief than just, I think a lot of people can see on the surface level. So yeah, you said since you were a child, you've
right.
Been, is it something actively that you're actively in it and using it right now?
I don't have any kind of a practice with it, and which is sad, I think about sometimes, because from the time I was very, very young, I got messages from, still not sure where, that addressed me as little daughter of the moon and stars. And I often would do, the typing, automatic typing, and I like to relate to trees and triangles and their energy and the stars and things like that. I remember, so I was Catholic, I remember talking to our family priest because I was about 9 and I was trying to understand what I was hearing and understanding, and then how the world worked and all that. And he just totally the wrong person to go to. He just said, go home and pray.
So it was a priest that turned me. So I was probably 10 or 11, and I'm probably a little bit younger than you. And, I went to Catholic school. I was raised Catholic, and went to that priest because another parish started allowing girls to be altar girls. So I go to him and I say, hey, Father, I've heard that, there can be, girl altar girls. I would love to be. Could I please? And he said, no. And I said, why not? And he said, my church, my rules. And I was just floored. I was like, what? This is the house of God. What are you talking about? Your house, your rules. I like my little 10 or 11-year-old brain could not comprehend this denial of me being able to celebrate my spirituality. Like it was really harsh to me. So
right. Yeah. And they're still out there. I'm from Nebraska, and our particular parish, the last I knew, still did not allow girls on the altar. It's like the last nation.
I know it's up to the priests to make that choice, but that was the Catholic Church lost a believer that day. I'll tell you
But
that.
it's sad because the Catholic Church has a very woo-woo side. And we would have masses where people were fainting in the spirit and doing all those sorts of things.
I mean, I have talked with so many folks that they have this strong Christian background, and then they're starting to embrace that like deeper spirituality. And I start, to your point, pointing out, like, church every Sunday, is that not a regular ceremony or ritual, right?
Right.
Like you're eating something that represents the body and blood. Like, is that not a magical ritual? I mean,
absolutely.
The singing, the chorus, the
candles.
they're magical. Every prayer, every now and again, as a psychic medium, and I have advertisements that's out there and stuff, I'll get people, and they'll be like, Jesus, they start kind of, I don't know, chastising me and judging me and, playing that role. And, I'm like, I've got a very lovely relationship with Jesus and God and your God. So please, like, let's not
judge.
Yeah.
I see religion as kind of like math, that we all learn the basics, addition, subtraction. And some people stay there, and some people algebra, and some will take physics, and some go into metaphysics. And to me, it's just who you are, what you were born for, what your capabilities are. And so I try not to judge whatever level people are at. I had a couple of quick questions for you. So you talked about the miracle plant. I assume in your case, you're talking about THC.
Yep. I do smoke. My preferred is flower. That's my preferred way, giving it as close to the earth as I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've smoked since I was 16 and incorporated, like I said, it's even one of my offerings. I have a monthly ritual that I do with the planetary deity Saturn, and that is one of my offerings. I roll him one every month.
And so I'm just the opposite of you in the fact that I'm already so far out there. So I've smoked a couple times, but I also then travel through time and go back to past lifetimes, and it's just too powerful. And also I'm very into my brain. I'm pretty smart, and I do a lot of thinking and research and writing. And I find if I smoke, I can't do any of that. So I personally don't incorporate it. And I'm focused on healing. So then that's why we do the raw CBDA that just focuses on healing. But anyway, but like I say, no judgment. Everybody does what they want to do. And then what is your typical practice, or now what, like when you work with other people, can you kind of explain more what exactly you do or offer?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two paths. If I'm going to sit down with you in a one-on-one session, this could be general, psychic type of questions. Folks are just looking for, definition, exploration around their life. It could be mediumship. They've got somebody on the other side, or a spirit guide that they're trying to connect to and get answers from. Or it could be Akashic Records readings, going into past lives. Very often it can be a combination of all three of those. I'm also a certified Reiki master. So if we do find that there's certain things that we get into where healing becomes necessary, we can always go down those paths. The other side of the coin, though, that I work with is I have a lot of clients that either choose to work with me one-on-one, or I do have a membership program that are actually trying to awaken and step into their own magical psychic gifts. So they're trying to establish magical practices, understand more and explore more of the esoteric path. And they want to be able to leverage and embrace their psychic gifts to be able to see and start to divine more things related to their life.
Well, that's a nice full service practice you have there. No, that's wonderful, because there aren't a lot of people out there, and it varies. Obviously in California, there's way more people than in Nebraska. I know in my small town, the only thing I could find in our library was writings by Shirley MacLaine, who has written several books. She's very psychic in her journey. And I'm sure they had no idea what she was saying, or they wouldn't have put her in the library. But anyway, yeah. So you're lucky that there was more openness, and you were able to follow your journey more openly than many people that don't have that option, or don't have a support family, or.
Yeah, I can't say I had any of that. But I do have some pretty big balls on me. I'll put it to you that way. And somehow have managed to fight. There was a time I was married And the ex-husband did not. He made fun of me, and it really dampened, and it put me into a closet for about 6 years of my life. And it was the most depressing, anxious filled 6 years that I've ever experienced.
Right. If you're not doing what you're here to do. Yes. There's not much worse for you to go to. Do you have any children that you've passed your gift on to, or?
I don't have any children. I made a choice when I was very young that I did not want to mother any children. I have a lot of folks that I touch to, but no, it's not. And it's kind of a bummer because it would have been beautiful to have experienced that. But on the flip side too, it is also hard to grow up as a child with these gifts.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do people sign up for your membership? Or I don't know where you even live. How do people meet with you personally? Or
yeah, so you can always find me on my website, sunshinereadings.com. You can find the membership there as well as any other offerings. Connect with me one-on-one. There are some public events that I do every other month they're kind of like the knock on my front door. They're the low cost offer, which are really great opportunities just to see if you like my energy. Because I feel the biggest thing is if you're going to work with a psychic medium, jive with them.
Absolutely.
Don't walk in blindly. Know that you actually connect with their energy. So it's a really great opportunity for folks to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I love it. And just how about a final? I know we got to wrap because we're all just got so much going on in this crazy world. And I feel like I got into a good place with good reception. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. But I'm glad you two got connected. And I think that's super cool that you were able to connect the miracle plant coming into your life when you had your, spiritual awakening, if you will. So, but a final message you want to leave with our audience?
Final message. Don't be afraid to step into your own shadow, to face those things that maybe are scary, create anxiety, or make you uncomfortable, because it's through that we often experience our deepest growth. And that being said, if you need any help or assistance on your journey, find me at www.sunshinereadings.com, and I'd be delighted to hold your hand while we do it.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, at the end of every Miracle Plant podcast, we say heal the world, because that is the mission here, to reach 1 billion people by 2025. And that holistic healing, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, you name it, that holistic approach, so everyone can live that happy life that they've been called to do. So on the count of 3, we're going to say heal the world and lift the vibration so people can feel it, find it, and look for that thing that helps them on their healing journey. So on the count of 3, let's say heal the world. 1, 2, 3. Heal the world. All right. Well, thanks for joining us at the Miracle Plant Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week as we talk about this miracle plant and reaching those that need a miracle. Happy healing, everybody, and be a blessing. Take care.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to PodConx.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
How do cannabis CEOs balance growth and optimization strategies? What is THCO, Delta-10, and CBNA, and why should you care about these minor cannabinoids? And why isn't the endocannabinoid system covered in medical school? Most people think they're up to date in trends in the cannabis industry, but they're about 6 weeks behind. Learn about what is truly next in the cannabis space by joining myself, Brian Fields, and Kellen Finney every week on the Dime Podcast, and of course, on PodConx.